Good morning, everyone. Buen día a todos. Dos veces al año se proclama públicamente la pasión del Señor Jesús. Only 2 days in the whole year when the church publicly speaks aloud the passion of the Lord. Today, Domingo de Ramos, también Viernes Santo, and on Good Friday. It is something that we do. Es algo que hacemos. Para vivir este momento solemne de la entrega del Hijo de Dios. It's something we do, it's something we listen to, it's something we kind of are pulled into to simply witness and hear about how it is that the Son of God hands himself over, no porque él mismo se entrega. It's long because it took a while. Es que no se hizo en un instante a otro, es que pasó tiempo, por eso es largo el momento de la iglesia de leer esto y meditarlo. What is important for us, though, is to hear it in its fullness, ¿no? Escucharlo en la plenitud de todo lo que pasa, ¿no? Y no comentar cada detalle. It's not so important to comment every detail. The church recommends to us that we all spend the next week reading this over and over again, meditando este texto, tomando cuenta de los detalles. Es cosa que hace un católico durante la Semana Santa. Pero sí hay que notar lo que significa la grandeza de esta obra. It's important for us to say just a little bit of the grandeur of this moment and what is happening, ¿no? Entenderlo con un entendimiento espiritual, que quiere decir un entendimiento desde el punto de vista de Dios. It's not about explaining every detail. We just need to read that and let that touch us, but it's about allowing us to kind of say what this is about and letting it enter into us more. Entonces quisiera nomás tomar dos puntos en particular para entender la totalidad, ¿no? To help us understand what's the whole picture. The first moment is when Jesus is at the house of Simon the leper and the woman comes to anoint him. No, hay que tomar lo que significa este momento, porque es un momento profético. It's a prophetic moment. That is, it says something to us about everything else that's going to happen afterwards. Este es un momento que nos da luz para entender todo lo que va a suceder después. ¿Qué pasa? What happens there? This woman who has no name has an alabaster jar and she breaks it, ¿no? Ella misma entra con el aromático nardo y quiebra la vasija, el urno que contiene este óleo precioso, this precious oil, in front of everybody. It's a dramatic thing. Y empieza a ungir la cabeza de Jesús. She puts oil on his head. And they criticize her. Lo primero que escuchamos es que la critican. Es que es desperdiciar. Esto es algo que cuesta dinero. ¿Por qué lo hace? What's she doing? They criticize her and they in a certain way condemn her for this waste, no? This waste. Pouring out this aromatic nard upon his head. And Jesus speaks. Y hay que escuchar lo que dice el Señor Jesús en respuesta a la crítica. Dice, déjenla en paz, déjala en paz. ¿Por qué? Porque ha hecho esto en mi honor, preparándome para mi muerte. She's preparing me for my death. She's announcing to you beforehand that I will die. Es un anuncio profético. Esta mujer, sin decir nada, sin pronunciar ninguna palabra, esta mujer anuncia, Cristo va a morir. It reminds us of St. Paul when he says the church must announce that Christ, we proclaim that Christ is crucified and has died until he comes again. Este es el anuncio de la iglesia. This is the church's announcement. The Christ has died and will die. And we announce this as the mystery of God's love until he comes again. Until he comes again. Porque resucita este Dios, Cristo, pero el momento de la muerte se anuncia, porque significa algo. The moment of his death is announced because it means something. What does it mean? She has poured out the oil, ¿no? Ella derramó todo el óleo. Que significa que el Cristo derramó toda su vida. For us, this is the great gift. The believer sees in this gift not a waste. The prophetic act of pouring the oil upon his head, announcing his death beforehand, is the act by which he saves us. Porque Dios toca nuestra necesidad cuando derrama su vida sobre nosotros. We are touched by the salvation of the Christ when he pours out his life over us. Just like the woman poured the oil over his head, he pours his life over us. This is what we announce. He has emptied himself. Así lo dice San Pablo en la segunda lectura, ¿no? Se anonadó a sí mismo. He poured himself out. And because of this, God highly exalted him. No el hecho de derramar su vida, derramar su sangre, o entregar su cuerpo. El hecho es lo que nos salva porque nos toca. La plenitud de Dios llega a tocarnos y queda vacío. The fullness of God pours himself out, and in his flesh he's empty. Ya no puede dar más. God in the flesh can't give any more. Les doy mi vida, ¿qué más les puedo dar? That's why what the woman does by pouring out the oil over his head announces what Christ will do on the cross, where he pours out his life over us, and announces what St. Paul talks about in the second reading. He emptied himself for our sake. What do we see in the Passion? The emptying of the Son of God, pouring his life out over us. How does it happen? ¿Cómo sucede esto? Because he lets us do to him what we sinners do. No, permite, el Señor permite que hagamos nosotros los seres humanos lo que hacemos. Calcular, traicionar. Echar la mentira. All the things that go into the passion, the lying and the pride and the anger and the fear. Simon Peter's afraid. All of that, el miedo, la soberbia, la violencia, todo lo que está ahí es lo que él se entrega a eso. He gives himself to that, which is our reality. No, esta es nuestra realidad. God didn't come to a different reality. He came to the one where crucifixion happens, where betrayal happens, where problems are solved by killing people happens. That's the world he comes to, viene a nuestro mundo, and he let it happen. No dijo que no. If I'm one of you, then do what you must do. That's the pouring out. Este es el entregarse totalmente por nuestra causa. Y nos toca a nosotros. And that's the first point. And the second one is very simple. Just notice, para ver qué efecto debe de tener esto. What should this do for us? ¿Cómo nos afecta? En eso hay que notar las lágrimas de Simón Pedro. Just look at the tears of Simon Peter, because he's the first one to deny him, and he's the first one to cry. Simón Pedro, el primero a empezar a llorar, porque fue el primero que lo traicionó. No lo conozco, nada mío. I don't know him, nothing. You must be mistaken, I'm sorry. Then the tears. A la lágrima, ¿no? El efecto, ¿no?, de la pasión del Hijo de Dios es tocar el corazón para que podamos recuperar la capacidad de llorar delante de Dios. The effect of the coming of the Son of God and of the giving of His passion, the pouring out of the sacred oil over the earth, which is His life, is to once again touch the human heart in such a way that we can learn once again how to cry before Almighty God. Si nos toca, nos cambia. If it touches us, it changes us. In a certain way, liturgically, hablando litúrgicamente, nuestras lágrimas se manifiestan cuando nos hincamos al anuncio que el Cristo ya entregó su aliento. La iglesia que de momento silencio. That's the way we, in the liturgy, live this moment. The tear is when the church kneels, porque there's nothing we can say before this gift. All we can do is pray for the grace to receive it. Delante de este regalo no podemos hacer nada. Lo que hacemos es pedir la gracia de poder recibir este regalo que nos ha dado.